Hello and welcome to another episode of the Duct Tape Marketing Podcast. This is John Jantsch. My guest today is Larry Kim. He is the founder and CEO of customer.ai, a first-party website visitor identification and remarketing pixel. He's also the founder of WordStream, provider of Google and Facebook ad management software for tens of thousands of customers globally, acquired by Gannett in 2018 for approximately $200 million. So, Larry, welcome to the show. I wonder what in the world you're doing hanging around with the lowly duct tape marketing podcast at this point.
Thanks, John. It's great to be here. So it's awesome.
So I think I had you on back in the day to talk about WordStream. Are you involved in any way, shape, or form with WordStream, or that's completely out of it?
It was acquired by
Yeah.
other companies, and so I've moved on to other things.
Yeah. So I'm curious, did you take some time and say, I'm just going to, I've picked up a little money here. I've got some ability to enjoy myself, or did you just immediately start thinking of what's next?
It's still a long career,
Yeah.
ahead, and digital marketing is a fascinating field, and so I just sort of jumped right into the next thing.
Yeah. So we'll talk about customer.ai, but is there anything in particular that you looked out and said, this is the next thing to tackle, or do you feel like you kind of just stumbled into an opportunity?
It's well, when you sell a business, they ask you to not like recreate the same business
Right.
for obvious reasons, and I think that's perfectly reasonable. So I was just looking for opportunities in digital marketing, but outside of the Google ecosystem.
Yeah. So I mentioned in the intro what customer AI is: website visitor identification, remarketing pixel. A lot of listeners know what remarketing is, but maybe we ought to start there. In the ad world, what exactly is remarketing?
It's an incredibly effective way of doing ad targeting to people who have recently visited your website, and the reason why this works so smashingly well is just that people are 2 to 3 times more likely to engage with ads for brands that they've heard of, and
Yeah.
marketing targeting it kind of figures out it solves for that by narrowing the ad targeting to people who have recently been to your website, which means that they're in market for the products and services that you're selling, as well as they've heard of you. So
Yeah.
it's kind of the crown jewel of, or has had been historically the crown jewel of ad targeting methods, and was responsible for a lot of the growth from digital ads that was
Yeah.
driving company growth.
So back particularly in your WordStream days, and maybe you don't have an exact number, but how likely or how much better was, retarget, like if you could retarget somebody, how much more effective was that in terms of a conversion, in terms of return on ad spend, things of that nature?
It's an order of magnitude better.
Yeah.
That the engagement rate was 2 to 3 times higher.
Yeah.
That implied substantially lower cost per click,
Right.
but also that that excitement, that higher engagement would carry through to purchases or signups,
Right.
because they're excited to engage. And what we found was in advertising, there's this concept of ad fatigue, where it's like the engagement rate kind of declines over time as you see the ad like 5, 10, 20 times.
Yeah.
Even a fatigued, like, plus 20 impression remarketing targeted ad will still perform better than a brand new interest or demographic based targeted ad. So there you have it.
The ones I hate is when I see it 20 or 30 times after I've made the purchase and I'm still seeing the ads. Those are the ones I hate.
Well, it's a missed opportunity. They should be segmenting you into an upsell
Of course.
ad flow. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. All right. So I get the concept. I've visited the website. And so now you're going to show me target, or you're going to show me ads because a lot about me. Or at least you know one thing about me. I visited your website. What's changed in the world of pixels and targeting and privacy? And again, maybe that's a big question with a lot of answers, but when it comes to remarketing, what's changed?
It's nearly dead. This entire phenomenon was 100% reliant on third-party cookies. So the way that retargeting would work for Facebook or Google was that you would log into Facebook or Gmail or some Google service on either your browser or on your device, and using the power of third-party cookies, they could share data between like one browser tab to another, and so if someone visited duct tape marketing or customers.ai, it used to be the case that if you installed a Facebook or Google ad pixel on your website, it could attempt to look for the Google Pixel could look for a Google third-party cookie.
Yeah.
The Facebook Pixel could do the same, and it would then pick up an ID if it was there. And 50% of the times this would work. It would then phone home that ID to the mothership saying, John visited customers.ai, so let's add John's ID into Larry's ad manager so that he can retarget to them. So that this whole thing is like very tenuous right now. It started in 2018, Firefox dropped third-party cookies, and then 2019 iOS made third-party cookies opt in rather than opt out. And Chrome is sort of like the last shoe to drop here. I don't know if you saw the news yesterday. They kind of extended the sunset time to sometime 6 months from now or something, a year, early 2025 is what they're saying now. But it is in the process of being sunsetted, and we're already that retargeting signal just because of the other players of the ecosystem. Excluding Chrome, is still like 50-60% of the signal.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been in decline for 5 years now.
So how, like, what's the level of degradation? I mean, now of that type of tactic?
So at the heyday, so 2027, you were able to remarket using a pixel. It would vary based on where you lived and who your audience was, but on average, they could kind of ID somewhere around 50% of the people who were visiting your website. That's degraded by, call it 70-80% over the last 5 years.
Okay. So what's driving these changes? Is it just consumer privacy theoretically, or is it just legislative backlash?
Um, the thing that people don't realize about the Facebook and Google ad pixel was it was just a massive Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, if the use case was limited to what we've described here, like just being able to ID the people who visited your website and show them ads, it might have not been such a big deal. But the other thing that the Google and Facebook pixels were doing was they were phoning home like every bit of user journey data, like for every visitor, but then uploading that to their ad systems to then power the display network capabilities of those ad platforms. So it was like they had this pixel on 10 million sites, and you would visit a phishing site, okay, and then Google would ascertain that John's must be going to a fishing trip, and then other competitors, in the ecosystem, there's 10 million advertisers on Facebook and Google, would then be able to run ads using display targeting segments like interested in fishing or something, and that's exactly the mechanism of how that data was being populated. And I think that is very questionable, and it wasn't really well disclosed, and so it did run afoul of a lot of regulatory practices and stuff like this. Like that Google and Facebook weren't necessarily even disclosing that to the people who are installing the pixels, and there was some concern, but that is the genesis of
Yeah. Okay.
sort of the demise of third-party cookies.
So some of these bigger players, the Googles, the Facebook, even Apple, now jumping on, killing third-party data. Does that put a big dent in their ad revenue as well, or does it actually increase ad revenue because targeting goes away?
Um, so it they're putting on a bold face. They're saying, you know what, we have this new, like Facebook is calling it audience plus ad targeting, and they're saying like, you don't need data, you need like, see, our AI will figure out who your perfect customers are, okay, and it's kind of mixed reviews. Like, this is nothing new. It's called similar. It's kind of a rebranding of similar audience
Yeah,
targeting.
look-alike. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
looking like audience targeting was there in like 2010, like when ads started, and it was always kind of the backup, kind of stepchild of ad targeting methods, where if you didn't have any signal, you would go to similar ad target,
Mhm.
similar audience targeting, and they just kind of reverse the pecking order. They're saying now the default is similar audience targeting, and if you happen to have data, um, you know, then that's still an option, but it's not required. Now, I don't. Does it actually work? Sure, it can work a little bit, but like, the apex of like, what they had going back in 2017, this was pretty hard to beat.
Yeah. Well, and as an advertiser, I mean, it made a lot of us kind of lazy too, didn't it? I mean, because you really could get such good targeting information. A lot of people stopped worrying about first party data and even about, getting, building email lists and things of that nature. Um, where are we today?
Yeah, so that's exactly the thing. It was like this weird phenomenon for about a decade, between you know 2010 to 2018-ish. Like,
Mhm.
you had Google and Facebook, trying to kill each other by providing like the best possible data for their advertisers and the best possible tools. And I think advertisers were kind of the beneficiary of this free. Well, it wasn't free, but they were licensing the data to you through their ad products. But just even having that access was something that marketers never had before,
Yeah.
and providing like very granular analytics to understand the ROI of that ad spend was quite remarkable. In terms of like where we're headed, these companies are now trillion-dollar behemoths, and they have monopolies, and there's just not, with the specter of regulatory concerns overhead, there's just no upside to sticking your neck out there and trying to provide like really, really great ad targeting in 2024.
Yeah.
So they're making things more opaque.
Mhm.
Case in point, like Google Analytics, like it used to have like like people explore data, like you could
Yeah.
understand more about the people and the demographics of the people who are visiting your website. They ripped it out. The audience managers in Facebook used to have like in audience insights. That's been ripped out.
Yeah.
The you see what I'm saying? Like Google Analytics used to be able to get very granular user journey data. That's been replaced with like sampling, and where they kind of like just, they don't tell you the exact numbers. They just kind of round to the nearest thousand. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's just does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. So really a lot of what where I'm really going with this is a lot of what you're doing at Customers AI is really trying to help people recover the ability or the capability to do remarketing. So if third party data is not the answer, what is the answer, or what's the technology now that's allowing some recovery of this?
Yeah, well, you need to lean into your first party data, yeah, we just got very complacent and lazy and forgot to about the importance of engaging in marketing, driving traffic to your site through top of funnel campaigns. And then what we do is we have something a little bit comparable to what the Facebook and Google Pixels used to do, but it's limited to a first party context. So what we can do is we
So
can
maybe I hate to do this, but maybe explain what first party data is first.
it's your competitive advantage. It's your understanding of the market, like in terms of the people who are visiting your website, the information that they fill out on your website, the pages that they view. It's the data in your CRMs, in your HubSpot, in your Mailchimp.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all that information. And third party data, on the other hand, is like kind of like Zoom info, where you could just buy a list of
Yeah.
CEOs, like that was this purchase data, or ads where it's like you specify like an audience, and they just happen to know like who's
Yeah.
looking to do a fishing trip this weekend,
Yeah.
and that's third party data. So what we're saying is the pendulum is swung in the other direction. We kind of recover these remarketing use cases, but in a first party context,
Okay.
meaning we will provide you with a ton of information about the people who are visiting your own website. So this is augmenting your first party website data with all sorts of valuable information. I'm sure all of your visitors will be familiar with this idea of like augmenting your visitor data with,
Phone numbers or
say, like
whatever. Yeah.
exactly, like geo-targeting is
Yeah.
one of the big ones, like city state.
Right.
We can expand that to include like identity, as well as attributes of the people who are visiting. So like email, phone number, mailing address,
Mhm.
etc. And this is still your first party data. It's not. I'm not just giving you a list of ideal customers. This is you have to bring them into your funnel first,
Mhm.
and then what we can do is we can, in a first party way, augment the data and unlock different marketing use cases, such as email marketing, such
Mhm.
as retargeting, so that in the case of retargeting, we can like securely encrypt those identifiers and send them back to whichever ad platforms that you care about, in a way where it's just your data being sent to your account, and it's not populating
Mhm.
10 million other
Yeah.
ad accounts. So this is what we're talking about, like compliance and privacy compliance. Any questions?
So is there an easy way to explain the technology? It's some sort of server to server connection or
Yes, obviously we can't be using third-party cookies,
right.
because then we would have the same fate as the ad scripts that are being blocked. And obviously we can't be using like browser scripting calls, because that's also what Google uses.
Mhm.
It is a server-to-server call, so different. Recognizing that the the ad platforms recognize that the scripting communication channel was likely to be a little bit more tenuous. Moving forward, they have all built sort of these server APIs where vendors like customers AI can now securely uh, and reliably encrypt and send over that information, so that you can still remarket like it's 2018 again.
So I always like to, especially somebody like you that's watching like what's coming. Any trends or technologies that you think are coming that are going to further impact this space?
Um, as marketers, I think the most successful marketers are the ones that can kind of tell the future.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to tell the future is to look at the past, and because we just go round and round and round. Before Google and Facebook were invented and were providing these really radically amazing targeting offerings, like ad targeting capabilities and analytics, the companies that were doing really well were old school, like big companies that had a lot of data, like
Mhm.
Walmart or Harrah's Entertainment or other, big big data companies, and they had a huge advantage over smaller retailers or vendors, and that advantage had been diminished over time because Google and Facebook were kind of democratizing the availability of this third-party data. And I think where it's moving back is where we've been before. It's just like the companies that are going to be amazing are the ones that have a lot of data. So you should be like really taking stock of all the first-party data that you're generating, making sure that it's fully augmented using first-party pixel technology, so that you can, maintain all that valuable information and then act on it in terms of powering, email automation campaigns, advertising campaigns. We can do mailers, like we can send postcards because we have the address, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. One more sort of in the weeds question: does customers.io, am I getting that right? AI, sorry. Integrate with any CRMs or is it all kind of a you have to integrate through a Zap or something like that?
So we do have like emailing capabilities, and email automation capabilities within the platform. However, a lot of businesses, they have like preferred CRMs or ESPs, like email service providers that they wish to work with. We have native integrations with a couple of the big ones, including Klaviyo, Sendlane, Mailchimp, and a couple dozen, a good high level is one, and dozens of others.
Awesome. Well, if somebody wanted to find out a little more about whether or not this makes sense for them, how would they explore and get started with a tool like yours?
There's a free trial on our website, customer.ai, and you just put the pixel on your website. I believe it includes 500 leads or 7 free days of utilization, whichever comes first. So if you have like a high traffic website, I think that might be very interesting. Like you'll see all the IDs of the folks who are visiting your site, and you can tell your friends to like, guys, come click on my website. I just want to. You'll
see if it was you.
You'll see all these interesting names. It's hilarious how many, like, I saw the other day, like one of the moms from my 4th graders class was on my website, and it's like, oh, I saw that. Yeah,
so you sent her an ad, then I'm assuming
an email. So.
Well, awesome. All right. Well, Larry, again, appreciate you stopping by. This is an interesting, evolving topic. People can find out more at Customers AI, and Larry, hopefully one of these days we'll see you out there on the road.
Awesome. Thanks, John.